What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Tuck Rule Takes. The Tuck Rule boys are back. We got a bunch of guests on the pod right now. As you heard, that was my other Patriots life partner, Liam. We'll get to him in a second. Guys, I know last week I promised that the intro was going to be a little hippity hop inspired, a little rap inspired with, Tuck Rule Takes being mixed in with some rap. But there's only one way to start it out today. Can't play the song due to, those pesky copyrights. But if you know the words, people in the pod, sing along, feel free. People listening on the trail, in the car, in the gym, in the bathroom, sing along as well. It goes, Return of the Mac. Come on, Liam. Return of
I'm not
the
singing
Mac.
the song. I'm
Return
absolutely not singing
of
this.
the Mac.
I don't even like this
Return
song.
of the Mac. I don't know the words exactly. All I know is Return of the Mac. Guys, welcome. Like I said, I am Mike Sullivan. With me, as always, my Patriots partner for life, my Patriots pal, my Patriots posse. We roll deep. Liam, introduce yourself like you always do.
Mahalo, friends. It is a dark day for your boy, but I was able to crawl out of bed in my puddle of tears to be here with you today.
It's not a dark day. Come on. We will get to why it's a dark day in a second. I promise you guys, I told you we have a few guests on the pod. So first, I'm going to go to our guest wearing some Patriots gear. I see he's got a hat on. If you're watching on YouTube, he's got a Patriots jersey as well. Diego, say hello to everybody, my friend.
What's up, guys? Thank you so much for having me on Tuck Rule Takes. Boys, let's kill the show tonight.
Yeah, there we go.
Dude.
Welcome into the Tuck Rule house. Wipe your feet before you come in. We like to keep it clean. And next we have arguably our most, I don't know, this is the most illustrious guest we've had. I like to call him Big Al. There's a lot of different nicknames. Al, again, say hello, just like Diego did.
What's up, Tuck Rule Takes fanatics? Very glad to be here. A lot going on. You guys have been doing great with the pod so far, and I can't wait to see where you take it. So honored to be on. Thank you.
Oh, shucks.
That means a lot because people listening, you might not know. Al could just be like, hey, guys, your podcast sucks. We're going to cut it off. So thank you, Al. This is episode 5, by the way, big FIVE 5. But if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see there's one person here. Me and him just met, but I like the nickname Swaggy P. I'm gonna give it to him. I don't know if he likes it, but that's what he's gonna get. Swaggy P, Patrick, whatever you want to be called. Patrick Star, say hello.
What's going on, guys? What's going on? Tuck Rule, episode 5. I'm so happy to be here. First time, long time. That's what they say, right? This is gonna be a great show.
The triumphant return of Patty Scove.
This is the first time I've heard Patty Scoff in like a year and a half, and I love every second of it.
Al's moved to tears.
I was.
This is the first time I've ever heard of Patty P, period.
It's about quality over quantity, guys.
It's true.
There we go.
If he shows up once every 4 years, that accentuates it. One time he shows up, each time
he's like the Olympics.
So now that I've wiped my my feet on the entrance on that beautiful Mike Sullivan rug that you guys have in the entrance. Thank you very much for that.
No problem, man.
How do I go about entering the household?
So let me tell you first, here, let me bring you in. Let me just introduce you first. You're going to see a bunch of posters on the wall, a bunch of things, Patriots. All this you see.
Don't open my closet.
No. Don't even bring up the closet. Everything you see here, this entire domain is brought to you by Couch Guy Sports. A lot of things going on there, guys. CouchGuySports.com. That's .com. It's CouchGuySports.com. Check it out. We got podcasts. What am I saying? Articles, sports, anything you want. In fact, I think there's a couple people here that have some pods. Whoever would like to shout out what they have, by all means, go ahead.
Al, you want to take the front run here because you're on everything?
Fair enough. So the main podcast I'm on, Legends Lingo podcast, me and Tom Powder Cadmus, Matty Kiwoom every week, Boston Sports Podcast primarily, Couch Guy Sports Podcast with Jared Scally. We just had a crazy episode. And our Into the Triangle podcast, our Red Sox podcast with Jared Scally and Chris Enrique. So it's tough to say. So check everything out. And by the way, Sully, you don't even know this. We just hit 50,000 views in the blog for the month, for the 4th month in a row.
Holy shit.
Let's go. Ooh. Let's go. Let's
tight.
go. Dynasty starting. Me and Liam said it. Dynasty is starting right now. But guys, as you know, there is some big news to talk about today. There's a reason why Liam said that it's a sad day, even though I'm wearing my sunglasses. You might be asking why. Don't worry, we'll get to that. Today, veteran has kind of been, pushed to the back. Quinn Nordin has taken over the starting kicking role for Nick Folk, guys. What do you think about it? Talk about it.
Later,
That's obviously
Folk
the big
hero.
news, right?
It really
That's
hurts.
Well, no. What's big news is the fact that you two were so rude that you didn't even let Diego shout out his podcasts.
Oh,
That is really, really something. Diego, you believe these guys?
I forgot Diego
don't-
had a podcast.
Diego is here. Diego, shout it out, man. What's your podcast, my friend?
don't wait. Something along the lines of content director is in my name with Couch Guys Sports, and you guys are in some deep shit. I
Like,
can't
I
wait
think
to.
we just got cut.
I can't wait to take this podcast off of your hands.
Oh,
He
Jesus.
can't-
Make
he
it
can't
actually
do that.
watchable
He
and
can't do that,
listenable.
guys.
The
He
fifth
can't do
and
that.
last episode of the podcast.
First time and last time listeners. But no, real talk though, Diego. I do apologize. I just
No,
wanted
all
to get
good.
that fake headline out of the way. Diego, honestly, I'm kind of curious too, because I know you're involved in a bunch of things. What do you got cooking?
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. Assistant content director for Couch Guy Sports. Do a little bit of blogging here and there. But my podcasts are mainly the Yellow Card Podcast, which is a soccer focused podcast out of New England. Not a lot of those here in the region, but we are, if I'm not mistaken, the second largest followed podcast on the network. So podcast caught on Twitter. And also the Suplex Biddies, which is a wrestling oriented podcast. That's with me and Chris Jones and Andrew. Well, give us some love. Can use on the Twitter platform, and that's at Suplex Biddies. Biddies with 2
likes.
D's.
Yeah, guys, I can personally vouch for that. I've been on Suplex Videos. It is a great time. If you like wrestling, any sort of professional wrestling, hop on there, take a listen. It's awesome.
You
But
like suplexing biddies?
that's not what I said, Liam. See,
Okay.
can you let me get the intro out? Guys, the real reason we're here today, me and Liam texted, we had to do this podcast a day early. Cameron Newton is no longer a New England Patriot. He was cut today, to the surprise of many, to the shock of many. I obviously have my thoughts. We all have our thoughts, but I kind of want to go around and kick it around. Diego, since I forgot you last time, Diego, let us know, man. What do you think? What's your intro thought to all this stuff?
Yeah, sure. I think the Cam Newton release comes as a shocker to many fans and to many Patriots followers. That's not surprising at all. That's the feeling around New England, especially when he was a transitioning quarterback that helped us get over the Tom Brady era and kind of move into the future. Unfortunately, things didn't work out for Cam here into his second season. After 14 months, he's released by the Patriots. There's a lot of speculation and reasoning as to why that could have been. I'm sticking with the fact that I think missing out 5 important days of practice with the team really hurt him. It showed to be more of an unfortunate deliverance of being undisciplined and irresponsible for the team, especially as his vaccination status has come into question several times by the media and the team itself. And I think it just came down to more of making a decision of looking longer term rather than continuing to look at short term. And in the end, Mac Jones, with his youth and his talent and what he's shown so far with his growth in training camp, has assured Bill Belichick to make the decision to release Cam Newton. Even though I'm a big Cam Newton fan, I still rocking his jersey out of respect, because there's nothing more but respect for Cam Newton, and nothing but a feeling of gratefulness and blessings to the guy, hoping that he can land somewhere else where he could be far more of a role player in an organization that could really utilize him for the next however long he's got in his career.
You're right. I mean, that's kind of the thing. And you did bring up, you want to respect Cam, and I mean, we're obviously going to get to everybody. I just wanted to kind of, Diego, address you, a bunch of other people, because, I've been very aggressively confident in all of my, confidence, my excitement about about Mac Jones. And I know sometimes comes off as, might be a little disrespectful to Cam and his loyal followers and, all that. But I really wanted to say, from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. You think I'm going to apologize that Mac Jones is here? The future is here. That frumpy, dumpy assassin from Alabama is here. The prince that was promised from here on out, who will now be known as the king in the North. Let's go. New England is back. The North remembers everything you guys have been talking. Not you guys here. I love all you guys. Everything the haters have been talking about last year. Oh, Belichick's lost it. He's on the hot seat. All this stuff. Everybody sucks. The whole team is horrible. Guess what, guys? Bill Belichick remembers. He's petty. He holds grudges. Devin McCourty remembers. Matthew Slater remembers. Jacoby Myers remembers. Everybody does. Mac Jones is here to take your lunch, eat it, take your lunch money, buy that lunch, eat it in front of you, and then make you go buy him a drink. So Al, what do you think about?
Wow. Karen really had a meltdown there. Great job, Karen. Nice job going through. Nice job going through the Publix checkout and having a meltdown against the cashier. Go ahead, Al.
Thank you, Diego. Listen, they say don't follow like a dog act. You can't follow that act because that was something.
Don't want to follow that act. I don't want to look like a fucking Karen on a meltdown.
Man, I love Karen. The only Karen I know is, I don't know a Karen. I'm sorry. Al, what do you think, man? Cam Newton's gone. I mean, what's going on?
So I've kind of flip-flopped my opinion ever since Mac Jones got drafted, because I'll come out and admit it to start. I didn't want Mac Jones here because I thought Justin Fields was going to be the guy that the Patriots got. But then once Mac Jones came here and I did more research, watched game film, saw the statistics, I'm like, okay, there's something to this kid. I'm starting to get a little more excited. And then I think what kind of happened was Cam in training camp and everything started looking good. It's like, okay, we might have something here. I think secretly I always wanted Mac Jones to start, but it's not because necessarily of how much like I hate, and I say it in air quotes because I don't hate Cam Newton. I just always thought that Mac Jones was the better fit for this Patriots style of offense, a style of offense that, yeah, they're going to be run heavy. We know that they're going to, ride the back of Damian Harris and James White and, all those guys, Ramondre Stevenson, JJ Taylor. But Mac just looked very confident. He looked like he was making the right reads. Still has to get rid of the ball. He still has to avoid taking sacks. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that's going to have to be worked on as a rookie. Diego's smirking because he knows that's right.
Oh, no, I'm smirking about something else. Sorry.
No, you're good, dude. No, but the thing is like, I just think that this was the right time. It was the right move. And honestly, I hate to say this, but the fact that Cam missed the last preseason game against the Giants because of the COVID situation, because he did it last year too against Kansas City, I think that was enough for Belichick and McDaniels and Kraft and everybody else to be like, shouldn't we just go with the kid at this point and just let him take his lumps? Because we're not expected to win a Super Bowl anyway. So might as well just ride with it and then see if you can get like a 10-7, 11-6 season, get in the playoffs and get back that experience. So that's where I'm coming from. So I'm happy about the move, but not for reasons that Cam Newton lovers might think.
Yeah, I think that was that's a take that I would expect our fearless leader to have. Very concise, focused, to the point. Liam, I was going to go to you, but I see you every day. Pat, what do you think, man? This is, I genuinely have zero idea where your head is with this. So we're going to go you, then Liam, and then we're going to get into it. So what are you thinking?
So as a former football player, right, there's a lot more to the game than just being strong and throwing passes, right? The problem with Cam, and I think probably one of the strong reasons that we got rid of him, he wasn't being a leader. He was not being a team leader. He was not showing up. I mean, he violated COVID protocols, whatever that even was, right? That could have just been like picking up a tissue on the ground and throwing it in the garbage, right? But the fact of the matter is he was not being a team leader to arguably one of the teams that heavily relies on having a leader for all the cogs to spin together. If you don't have a leader, this team falls apart.
Mhm.
And I think we just decide, we have to cut our losses. We can't deal with that all season, whether we have Cam this week or not. And so listen, let's go with the kid. And what is the kid show so far, motherfuckers? 4 for 4. It hasn't happened since like 2007, right? Like, it's unreal. We've had a great preseason so far, and we're rolling. And he's showing that he's dedicated. He's showing that he's confident. It's going to be a good season.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And when people talk about, Mac Jones and me, for one, I know a lot of other people do too. He doesn't look like a rookie. His play sometimes does. I'm talking about just the way he carries himself, the way that he kind of commands the offense. That's the buzz phrase that everybody likes to say. But Liam, I know, I don't know, you might have the same take as everybody else, but Liam, wearing the old captain's hat over here. What do you think, my friend?
Okay. As somebody who came out the womb, I was born, my first moments of life, I came out in a Cam Newton jersey. Since then, growing up as a wee lad, idolizing and loving Cam Newton all throughout his career, I have every jersey that Cam Newton has ever worn up till he played JUCO, and I have his JUCO jersey. I really, really love Cam Newton. And I can think back to like 2012, 13, when Cam was firing up the league in his first couple of years and just being like, wow, what if he was on the Patriots? I remember throwing him on the team in Madden, and it was an absolute dream come true. And I got that dream. I had that dream all last year. And while it wasn't the exact dream that I pictured in my head, him winning MVP, rushing for 700 touchdowns and throwing for 500, I did not quite get that. And I was excited for what I was going to get from him this year. Unfortunately, the planets did not align for me, hence the captain's hat. I made myself a little farewell cocktail, and like any good captain, I'm going down with this ship, baby. I loved what Cam Newton was able to give me on this team, actualized a childhood dream of mine that honestly I couldn't have even imagined coming true in a million years. I want to thank Cam for everything he gave the Patriots. While it wasn't always pretty, it wasn't spectacular, actualizing a dream for me is something that, it gets the tears flowing here. I'm not psyched to see Cam go in such unspectacular fashion. I don't like it. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of bullets shot at me here. You guys probably have all your chambers loaded to unload on me all throughout this podcast. I didn't like Mac Jones coming out of college. I thought, he had top 3 receivers all in the draft. He was thrown to wide open guys, basically. Alabama is a professional team playing a bunch of squids and dudes who didn't go to class and are just thinking about getting hammered and bagging broads later that night. So I didn't have a lot of confidence in him. He comes in and he's done phenomenal. The preseason has been great. Last game especially, I was texting Mike. He was throwing players open. He had 3 back shoulder fades to lead to the end zone where he scored.
I see.
Yeah,
My boy, Liam.
He was unbelievable. So with all that, I was like, hey, there's a lot of pressure on Cam, but it was a definite to me. He was still going to be the week 1 starter. I'm somebody who firmly believes that somebody should sit in their first year and develop. Aaron Rodgers did it. Tom Brady did it. Steve Young did it. I can think of Patty Mahomes, millions of great quarterbacks that have sat their first year and developed. And I thought that was the clear-cut way to go. That's how you basically maximize your chance of having a great career. He sits under a veteran like Cam Newton. I disagree with Pat. I think he was a phenomenal leader. He was a high voice, a cheerleader for the team. He was extremely passionate. Maybe it wasn't all like X's and O's out there, but Cam's a big personality and a leader of men in my eyes. And I really loved what he was able to do for the team. And I think he was a spectacular leader. So I firmly disagree there. Obviously, like I said, like any great captain, I go down with my ship. And I guess it's all Mac Jones from here. I have to like it because, ride Patriots. But
you do have to like it.
It's not going to be an easy ride. And right now I'm about waist deep in freezing cold ice water.
Well, let's not
cue the funeral music.
Let's not. This isn't the Titanic. This is not the Titanic. If anything, now I obviously want to touch on what this means for the Patriots in general. But just since we're talking about him, for Cam Newton, I think everybody here for the most part we all like Cam Newton, the guy. Kind of like you said, Liam, I do think that Cam Newton was a good leader, but that doesn't matter. He's not on the Patriots anymore. So just to kind of wrap a little bow around Cam Newton, what do you think is going to happen with him? Because I'm hearing that this might be the end of the line if he doesn't want to be a backup, which I think is why this happened. Where does he go? Is there a dark horse team you guys think? I know Washington football team is the big name out there. Everybody thinks he'll go reunite with Ron Rivera. I personally think the Saints are an option. I know that's not one people are talking about a lot, but Sean Payton kind of has that Bill Belichick attitude where he's like, hey, I'm going to take what people don't want. I'm going to flip it around and shove it in everyone's face. Where do we think Cam Newton goes from here other than the exit from Foxborough because the Mac Jones era has begun? What do you guys think? Where's he going?
Personally, I think his career is over. I hate to do it. I love the guy, but there just seems like there's no real opening. He doesn't want to be a backup. I think that was the main reason why he got cut. I don't particularly believe it was all the COVID jazz because there was a screw up on the Patriots part. So for them to cut him over a mistake that they made seems, hey, and Bill's not the most fair guy. Bill's in it to win games. He doesn't give a shit if you get screwed. So maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that was exactly the reason. I think they named Mac the starter and then they cut him. So looking at starting opportunities, I don't think he's starting in New Orleans. I think that's Jameis's job, and I think Jameis is going to kill it. The only chance I really see is if old Wakatuam Wentz is out for the year and the Colts sign him to a 1-year deal, which would get me wet. I would love to see Cam Newton in white and blue. I think that would be sick. But other than that, I could totally see Cam just kind of fading out. He's got that reputation that's not so great. You see a lot of great players kind of fade out of the league super early, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him gone. Unfortunately, and it kills me, but I think he's gone.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that maybe the backup quarterback job is really not out of the question for Cam. I think that it was out of the question here in New England, considering that Mac Jones just looks to be far more lasting than some of these quarterbacks that are on some teams that are injury prone and really don't have much of a season possibly happening for them this year. An example, Carson Wentz, an example, Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, the list is lengthy enough. I recently wrote an article for Couch Guy Sports in regards of some potentials that are there for Cam Newton. One of them popping up continues to be the Dallas Cowboys as they release Ben DiNucci, Gucci DiNucci, and also released
that's hilarious. He's shit.
And they also released Garrett Gilbert, which was a surprise to me as well. I think with Dak still recovering from his ankle injury, which is going to be a pain to recover from, especially for a guy as big as Dak Prescott. That's not an easy injury to recover from. With a team that's going to have to utilize their running game a little bit more than the usual, just because they only have Ezekiel basically to rely on. Yeah, they got Tony Pollard, but on top of that, like you kind of need a running quarterback to give you additional options. I think Cam would be a phenomenal fit in that slot. Another potential spot that I see happening for Cam would be the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson doesn't really have much of a backup quarterback in his system. They have McSorley,
Tyler Huntley. He's been crushing it.
The Ravens.
Tyler Huntley and McSorley. Lamar Jackson has had 2 bouts with coronavirus, and with the Delta virus continuing to be as strong as it is, it wouldn't surprise me that Lamar Jackson would get it. Unfortunately, Lamar Jackson has been vocal about his vaccination status. He's not vaccinated yet. It could be a big risk for the Ravens, and with a run-heavy attack as the Baltimore Ravens have, it wouldn't be surprising for somebody like Cam Newton to be taking a flyer on, especially at the Ravens, with somebody like Jim Harbaugh that would love somebody like his personality. There is the potential as well of, I think, the Ron Rivera reunion at Washington football team.
Hey, let the other guys decide one. You're taking all the options, Diego.
Well, I got
Come
2
on,
more.
man.
Sorry, Stevie Wonder. All right. Nice
Scott
glasses.
Zolak. Scott Zolak. That's who he is.
Oh,
Do
no.
not ever.
No.
I love rap music. Do not ever compare me to Scott Zolak.
No, there is shit and there is diarrhea. Mike is solid shit and Darius Zolak. All
I'm
right,
the
like
shit,
we
baby.
don't
I've been
look
telling
that
everybody.
direction.
Fair enough.
I am the shit. I am the shit.
Like the mushy, like the mushy shit.
The only thing that would outweigh my love for Cam is my hatred for the Cowboys. If he goes to the Cowboys, one, I would have to hate Cam. Two, I would absolutely be devastated.
You have to be upset. I mean, I know.
But I mean,
like,
the only other
like you would
spot that
die
is
to
out
me.
there, the only potential other spot that is out there is him coming back to the Carolina Panthers, which I personally think it's a huge no. I don't see Dan Tepper making a decision of being like, well, listen, Matt, you didn't like him at first, you released him at first. He's shown over there in the Patriots that he can do it, so you're gonna have to bring him back regardless. Like, no, I don't see Tepper being that guy.
Plus, they got Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold is there, but unfortunately, if something happens to Sam Darnold, you don't really have that many options. You have Willie Parker, and you have another. Oh no, you don't. You don't even have another one because Will Greer was released by the Panthers.
They have PJ Walker. He's one of the best.
We have
backups
breaking
in the
news.
league.
I don't know exactly.
Oh, we
how
do have
breaking it
PJ
is.
Walker. Okay.
I don't know if anybody's talked about it. This is just the first time I've seen it. I've been preparing for this podcast, trying to find my glasses. That's all that means. Do we know that Brian Hoyer just got released by the Patriots?
Yes.
That was hours ago.
How crazy is that?
Jesus.
It's not that crazy. He'll be back.
Yeah, he
They'll-
will be back.
They'll make room.
He'll be back.
They'll throw like Nikhil on the IR to start. They'll throw another guy on the IR,
yeah,
and then that'll make
of
room.
course.
So just really quick, just because I want to make sure I actually get my team in, because knowing Diego, he was probably going to take it.
I tried
No,
to. I
no,
tried
I
to
just
give you
I
guys
just had
the
those 4
segue.
teams. I
I
just had
tried
those
to.
4 teams. That's all.
I was going
I thought
based
he was
off
going
your,
all 32.
Yeah, it's like next, the Chiefs, if they want to back up, and then you could come back to the Patriots too if you wanted.
Goes through every possibility. If Mahomes gets hurt,
Who
No,
knows?
he'll be a backup quarterback for Tom Brady. Don't worry
No,
about it.
Al, what's going on? And then Pat, Swaggy P, I didn't forget about you. We'll go to you right after.
So I'll make this really quick. I think the one place where he actually, believe it or not, can start is in Houston with the Texans. I mean, they have Tyrod Taylor starting, who Tyrod Taylor's bounced around the league more than I think. I'm trying to think of another player that's bounced around the league a ton.
Or the
Yeah,
COVID
Fitzpatrick.
itself.
There you go. There you go. So, but that's a situation. And guess what? Guess who the Patriots play week 5 after that big Sunday night game against the Bucs? They're going down to Houston
sir.
in what's a trap game. And you're telling me Cam Newton, if he didn't sign in Houston, would be fired up to know that he's at home against the team that cut him?
Yeah, Belichick will ruin him. I'm
no,
sorry.
he would destroy us. He'd
Yeah.
have 2 rushing tubs, 2 passing
No,
tubs. We'd lose
no.
by 20 points.
So
No,
my
we
team,
win.
my team's Houston.
Okay, Houston, that's a good one. Diego, you had the other half of the NFL. Liam, I know who you had. Pat, what do you think, man? What do you think is going on with Cam? Then we'll get to how this affects the Patriots.
So Diego, I didn't hear the first team that you said, but
The Cowboys.
I think we're maybe sleeping on. Cam. I think he might be a little over the hill, and that's fine. But you know who's even more over the hill than Cam?
Oh, jeez.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy H2O under the bridge.
He is
Think of that. Teddy Two
incredibly
Gloves.
old, right? And so I think
Is
maybe
he?
going over to the Broncos might not be too bad of an idea. It's kind of a different scheme, I think, than he's used to playing in, right? But also, can't forget spring 2022 is coming up soon. Arena Football League, right? He could absolutely destroy it.
Wait, isn't Teddy Bridgewater like 28?
Yeah, he's not that old.
Who am I thinking of?
You can never tell because he's got the 2 gloves.
Did I
You don't
really
know how
just hear
old he is
Arena
with the
Football
hands.
League?
Does that hurt your soul?
You must be hitting that Cali good out there because arena football for Cam
Johnny
Newton.
Manziel did it. Johnny
Johnny
Manziel,
Manziel
Cam
did it.
Newton,
He
same
would
guy.
he would average 8 touchdowns a game.
What about the
He did that.
XFL if it came back?
Oh, please.
Oh.
That would be sick.
The only other team that I could potentially think of, and I think it's completely out of the question, but I'm just gonna toss it out there. The LA Rams. I mean, something does happen to Stafford. They don't really have that much of a quarterback.
Stafford is pretty injury prone, actually.
He
Yeah.
is. I think the issue that is
I mean,
coming up
unfortunately,
that I
Cam's
think
age doesn't help him. But
They have like that substitute
No.
teacher as a backup though, which doesn't hold any merit. You might as well get Al in there.
I don't think Cam is going to want to be a backup though. That's the crux of it all. I think that's
That's what I said.
I think that's the reason why. I genuinely think, to bring this back to the Patriots, because guys, Patriots Tuck Rule Takes, we are a Patriots podcast. Let's go. I do think that that's half of the reason, or the majority of the reason why Cam Newton ended up leaving. Belichick saw that Mac Jones beat him out. He sees more than we do, obviously. He sees, practice time in Foxborough, everything there. We only see what's televised and what reporters say. You never know what to take from what reporters say because it could be biased. I think that if I had to lay out how today happened, or last night, whenever it happened, and then I know it just got announced today, I think that Belichick went up to Cam, said, hey, we're thinking about starting the kid. We're thinking about starting Mac. And some conversation happened where Cam Newton either requested his release, and all fine because there wasn't any bad blood. Obviously, they both like each other. Or Belichick was like, "Hey, I know you don't want to back up, so we're going to cut you. We're going to give you, 10 days, almost 2 weeks to find another landing spot, as opposed to holding on to you until right before the season starts. We cut you, then all of a sudden you can't find a landing spot." Belichick likes Cam Newton. So I think that he's genuinely trying to give him the best chance possible to find a landing spot. There was no way he was going to trade him because guess what? Cam Newton was a free agent this offseason. Nobody wanted him. He ended up coming back. There is a reason that nobody wanted him. And I mean, injury prone, who knows what's going on with, if he's grasping the Patriots playbook. We don't know all those things. All we know is that Cam Newton is no longer on the team. Mac Jones is starting. The Mac Jones era has begun. I think that this is an overall win for the Patriots. If you're a Patriots fan, I don't know what you guys are thinking. How can you see this as a negative? Because if you see this as a negative, I feel like you would then think that Mac Jones is that far below Cam Newton, which I don't think that's realistic. I mean, I know, sure, people say he was overrated for Alabama and all that. I don't care about that, but he did have, I think, the highest percentage of catchable balls thrown, but that's neither here nor there.
And you know what, Mike, honestly, just to go off your point that you made,
Yes,
because I agree with it. The fact that he went back out on the free agency market and there was not a lot of interest in him, he came back to the Patriots. You guys remember what that deal was that he signed? It was a 1-year deal. The incentives were up to $14 million, but I think his base salary was like $3.5 million.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And that's listen, Cam, and another thing too, with the age, I think that if it was, if Cam was like 27, if he's like 27, 28, I think we'd be looking at this a lot differently. For me, because Cam was getting up there in age, I'm like, you know what? He's going to be here one more year, and one of two things is going to happen. Either he's going to play so well that someone's going to assign him to a ridiculous contract next year and he'll be gone, or he'll play so bad that he'll be out of the starting lineup and then nobody's going to want to take him. Mm-hmm. So as a Patriots person, why are we doing this? Why would we do this to ourselves where we're giving it 1 year to prolong Mac Jones coming along unless Belichick thought he's not ready? If Bill Belichick really thought that Mac Jones was not ready to take this starting role, he would have kept Cam on this roster and would have found a way. Mm-hmm. That's just, I don't know. I don't think
it's
that's
all about
too crazy.
Development, though. No, I think that's like not particularly right. It's all about development. Like, you don't think Patty Mahomes could have started week 1? The dude threw 7 tubs in his first game in his second year. Like,
well, we don't know that.
Yeah,
but we don't know that.
We don't. But obviously, they had a feasible starter in Alex Smith, who is ultimate professional. Everyone loves Alex Smith. Yeah. I don't know anyone who doesn't love Alex Smith. Yeah, he's literally one of the most. He's like the Derrick Rose of the NFL. But I just think that there was really no downside to sitting Mac Jones for a year. Give him that time to develop, figure out what the league's like. In the preseason, everyone's blowing up about his performance. He was playing the second, third string guys. And like Pat said, I played football with Pat. Like, if you're not in the starting lineup, there's a huge drop-off in talent, the starting lineup. Like, there's a reason, there's obviously a couple positions where things are gritty and the backups could be really competitive. But for the most part, it's a bunch of dudes fighting to make a roster spot who aren't exactly completely in touch with the game or their game plan or their position.
But you could also flip that, and you could say that with Mac, he was playing with guys like Christian Wilkerson, who got cut, Isaiah Zuber, who got cut. So I do get what you're saying, Liam, and I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong. But what I'm also saying is you have to look at it from all angles too. And someone like Diego, who, credit to Diego, I know he's a Cam Newton guy, but he was smart enough and rational enough to realize that if Mac's good enough to start the job, then give the starting job to Mac. Like, and that's the thing too. That's what people need to realize, is that it's not necessarily we hate Cam Newton for the way he is. I think we were just so spoiled with the fact that we had Tom Brady, but now we have a kid and no one's comparing Mac to Tom Brady. Let's throw that right out the window.
Yeah, stop that. God.
Yeah,
There's actually a lot of it.
I was gonna say there is two things to this Patriots Nations, unfortunately, and I'm gonna get fucking booed for it, and I have no problem with that. But it's the truth. There is two things to it. There is the immediate fans who thought Cam Newton was going to be Tom Brady, and you're fucking out of your goddamn mind. And there is the immediate expectation that when you draft a quarterback on your first round and you are the Patriots, that he's got to be as good as Tom Brady, or otherwise he's trash. Guess what, New England fans? You're out of your fucking tree. You fell off the pickle wagon and you hit your head so hard that you're concussed for the rest of your life. Be real about what you have here in New England and just shut up already. Because the guy... The problem that I had with Mac Jones was how bad the media did of a job of over glorifying a kid who we hadn't even seen through a training camp or run through an organization and be able to behave himself in a way that would make it look like he's belonging off the Patriots. Now, granted, he did, and he's done a very good job at that. He's carried himself like a total professional, and I can absolutely respect that, especially out of a 22-year-old. Like, that is unbelievable. But the second part to that is that everyone was so hung up on Cam Newton sucking last year with a team that, guess what? Nobody had any expectations of this team actually even winning more than 3 games last year, whether Cam Newton was going to be the starting quarterback for the Patriots or not. Wait, were you going to rely on Jarrett Stidham? We all saw how Jarrett Stidham was going to be in Kansas City.
Anyone with the name Jarrett is probably a shithead or terrible.
And on top of that, you gave a quarterback starting position role opportunity to somebody like Brian Hoyer, who completely choked beyond choked against Kansas City. So when you're going to sit there and tell me that there are far better quarterbacks in our backup quarterbacks like Stidham and Hoyer than have to deal with another year of Cam Newton, I hate to tell you, but either you're a real fucking moron, you don't know football, or you're just so hung up on Tom Brady that you are just so clueless and deluded in your brain that you just can't see past that. We got to move on from the Tom Brady era, and we got to move on from these expectations. We got to move on to a time where we look towards the future. That's why when I realized that Mac Jones was the one drafted in this year's draft, I was the first one to say to Al, have to give the kid a chance. Have to give the kid a chance, because otherwise, when is it gonna be the next opportunity when the Patriots gonna have a potentially really good pick in the first round, where they can draft a quarterback on that first round? And that's possibly not happening for another 5 years.
And that's the whole thing, Diego. And then Sully, I'm sorry, I'll let you, take
control
of your show.
Bro, jump in, man. That's fine. Tuck Rule Takes. We are in open living room right now.
We love that.
Worry. Come on, just.
And I think
open forum.
I think the big difference was that you have to take a look at the two quarterbacks, Mac Jones and Jarrett Stidham. Mac Jones was a first round, number 15 overall pick. Jarrett Stidham was a 4th round pick. Mac Jones played at Alabama, who won a national championship. Jarrett Stidham was at Auburn, that is middle of the pack SEC, if they're at best. So there are glaring differences there. When you have a kid that comes in here, leads the country in completion percentage, and is that accurate, and it almost looks like
lead that team in completion. I could lead the nation with that team in completion.
Liam, you can barely throw a baseball, let alone a football.
Hey,
and you've even admitted
as Pat
that.
is my witness, I got a cannon. I can sling that rock.
You've told me your arm is really bad, so
I
I'm
never
not
said
that.
that. I would never say anything.
I have the text messages to prove it.
Never.
I got the text messages to prove it.
Bring them up, because that
I would love to.
You are
so.
Delusional.
Anyways, no, I see reality unlike you sometimes. That's all I'm gonna say. But it's just a situation where, you had everything in place. The national championship quarterback, the completion percentage, the poise, the way he was running the offense. And I think that was enough. And with Cam, I don't want to say being irresponsible because obviously getting the vaccine, everything is a choice. And if he doesn't want to get it, that's fine. But him, being unreliable put him in a bad spot. And that's, I think, what it just all comes down to at the end of the day.
I think his attitude hurt him. Absolutely. His attitude hurt him.
Not even the
I
attitude,
don't
just
think it's
the
the
decisions.
attitude, yeah.
Just the decisions that he made.
It opened up
Right.
the window because Bill was able to see Mac with the starters, and apparently he completed 14 straight passes against the
It
starters.
was like
And-
18, yeah.
Yeah, and the Patriots. I've always said they have the best defense this year. So
And let's be also realistic a bit here as well, because we're glorifying Mac Jones for what he is and what he's done, and he deserves a lot of credit. There is no
He
question there.
does.
But even in his first open training session where he was just himself with no Cam Newton there, he didn't have a really rough practice there with just barely 54% of completion, going 17 for 35.
Wait,
That
wait,
to
wait.
myself was like-
He's
But
a
I mean-
rookie, so
but I
like,
mean,
you kind
he-
of have to adjust the scales though. Like you can't
Correct.
judge him.
And that's what
the
and that's
same
what I'm
way,
saying.
yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say. What I'm gonna say next. I think that the best thing that Mac Jones has shown to this organization is that he's willing to improve and continue to learn from the coaches and the right staff in place. He has the right staff in place in Josh McDaniels, somebody who he can truly learn from and can truly be inspired in driving his game to the next level, because that's a coach who's been here to develop a really good offensive line that has won many Super Bowls under his surveillance. Mac Jones, back to my point in that first open training practice that he had with no Cam Newton. The second day, he followed it up with a really good performance where he was basically 93% completion following a really, really good practice. I think for Mac, what's going to be essential this year is really honing down the emotions and listening to whatever Josh McDaniels gives him as guidance. Because otherwise, if he lets the fact that he's now gotten the starting role, that he's gotten the keys to the kingdom, as we want to say it, I think if he lets that kind of persona get into his head, he's going to get completely overcarried. And come week 6 or week 7, people are probably not going to be happy with that performance if that does happen. And people are going to be quickly going, why the fuck did we let go of Cam Newton?
I don't
If
think
that
he's
does
that
happen.
type of guy anyway, though.
I don't
mean,
perceive
he's-
him as that,
Yeah.
but we know how starting quarterbacks can be, especially
yeah.
coming off of the draft. It's happened so far to Tua, who's had a very rough first
Yeah, but Tua's
season.
pretty. Mac Jones is kind of. He
So
looks like a
the-
couple mounds of clay that somebody burned a face
a bag
off
of milk. He looks like a bag of milk. You can say it. I mean, I think probably the majority of New England has, a better physique than him, which is fine. I'm not saying anything.
Which
bad.
is why he got compared to Tom Brady, because when they both came out, they both looked like string bean head asses.
They did. I know that, like, bringing up Cam Newton's thing from last year. Obviously, you can't put everything on him because it was 2020. He got COVID. All this 2020. You have to not put so much weight on there. And I get that, the physical traits, all that, but he still. We all watched last season. He still was skipping throws to people. He still was making the wrong read routinely. He was still fumbling the ball. He was still like the decision making wasn't there. So if you believe in Belichick, like I think we all do and should, I mean, the guy's got a pretty good track record. All these nightmares that we're having about Mac Jones, getting full of himself or, not understanding the playbook. Bill Belichick saw both of these guys longer than any of us had. And he said, you know what? I'm not going to go with the veteran who, at the very least, I know the floor of what he can give. I'm going to go with Mac Jones. I think that counts for something because Bill Belichick, like I said, nobody has 100% good, track record, but the guy does well. And we always do this to him for some odd reason. We let Richard Seymour go. Questioned him. Ty Law gone. Questioned him. Jimmy G gone. Everybody questioned him. Who else? I mean, Chandler Jones. Everybody questioned him.
That was a bad
How
move.
about-
That was actually a bad move. I still question that.
Jamie-
I don't like Bill on that one. I
yeah,
think Bill's
but
getting a little senile, if I'm being completely honest. I
Oh,
don't think he's
stop.
making
you're
the
not.
best
You're
moves.
not. You're
Stop
not
it.
being.
I think it's
you're
only a
being
matter of time till he
facetious.
forgets
Stop
where
it.
he's
You're being facetious.
He gets lost
Liam.
on the way back from the grocery store, has to call his wife. You know,
Oh,
Betty,
He
I
gets
can't
lost
find
because
house.
the glimmer off of all his rings.
He's like,
kind of
somehow I ended up down the Cape. She's like, Bill, what the hell? I think he's getting a little up there. I think.
But you know what? Compared to some of the other Boston franchises, like the Red Sox and the Celtics and the Bruins, at least Bill Belichick has enough stones to actually make these kinds of moves. You guys remember Lawyer Malloy back in the day, 2003?
Yes.
Lawyer Malloy was a Patriot fan. He was a fan favorite. He helped them in 01 with that defense. That was the offseason. They signed Rodney Harrison. They signed Rodney Harrison to play alongside Lawyer Malloy. What does Bill Belichick do 1 week before the season starts? See you later. Cuts him. And that was a move. That was a move that everyone was saying, what is Bill Belichick doing? What happened later that season? I think they went 14-2, and then they won the Super Bowl again.
And Lawyer Malloy had a Pro Bowl year, and they started Eugene. They started Eugene Wilson.
They still won. But what happened to the team, Liam?
Yes,
great. Lawyer Malloy had a Pro Bowl year. He didn't get a second Super Bowl ring.
But they still would have won with him.
You can't say that because then you have the 7 degrees of separation, which what if all of a sudden you don't have him, this and that. I do, because Pat, I have you on here. I want you to talk. I want to throw this on over to you. Obviously, don't. This is arguably the biggest day in Patriots history since Tom Brady left a couple of years ago. So not too long.
This is honestly more shocking than Tom Brady leaving. I was like, holy shit.
I would say so.
It almost feels that way, yeah.
Pat, what's up, man?
Dude, so I was the producer on the Couch Guy Sports podcast for like years. So I'm really used to just like sitting in the background and like soaking it all in. So this is very normal for me. It's even rare that I'm even talking, which is cool. But
talking's tight.
He has I'm talking, and when I say he, I mean Mac Jones has the highest Pro Football Focus rating, preseason rating ever. Literally ever. Like
ever?
and
ever?
The second highest is Pat Mahomes, dude. Like according to statistics, he is better than Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, but statistics are usually
I like you, Pat.
A little skewed.
I'm a big stats guy. You know the thing about numbers? Numbers, unlike a woman, can't lie to you.
Hey,
all right?
Hey, Pat, name that top 5 for me real quick. Do you still have that in front of you?
Top 5 what?
For if Mac Jones is 1, Patty Mahomes is 2, I want to know the top 5 for that list.
Oh yeah, sure.
Trevor Lawrence probably up there, right?
No, Trevor Lawrence was shit.
So it goes Mac Jones for this year. It goes Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance.
What about ever? Do they have that?
All time?
Yeah.
Let's see it. Yeah, all time. Mac Jones 1, Pat Mahomes 2. You want number 3 through 5?
Yes.
Let me get you number 3 through 5 real quick.
Please,
all right.
Please.
Let's do this.
Enlighten me. Soak me in on this, because if Colt Brennan's on this list, I'm also going to be really salty.
Timothy Tebow, he's probably not on.
Colt Brennan just killed himself. I was so upset.
I love the stats. I love the stats and all, but to say that
drop the bomb
right now that Mac Jones is better than Pat Mahomes.
No, of course, no one's
saying. That's a full.
No one's saying. Although real talk, I will say he is, but no one's saying that though. Come on.
I mean, there's no proof that he isn't yet.
There is no proof against him.
I have a question, and I kind of just thought about this, and I was thinking today how I was going to attack this podcast or attack this topic, but I'm not really going to kind of sugarcoat it because Cam Newton's not here anymore. Why all of a sudden?
Sugarcoating it.
Why all of a sudden? I'll sugarcoat you. Why all of a sudden are we picturing Cam Newton? We're treating him like this beloved guy who did all these great things. Cam Newton, the guy is awesome. Dude. Cam Newton, the guy is awesome. I know, but the player, granted, he had things going against him last year. I get that, but he still didn't play well. Let's not forget that.
It's almost
like we're looking at
hold on, Mike.
Glasses.
Mike, hold on. Let this come from someone that wasn't the biggest Cam Newton fan in the world when he signed here initially.
Let me see
I know. So let me see if I can communicate this to you really quick. Cam Newton, the first 3 games in 2020, played exceptionally well.
Disgusting.
He won you the Miami game. He was 1 game away from winning the Seattle game, and he played very well against the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Then the COVID stuff happens. if the COVID stuff doesn't happen, I think Cam Newton actually has a much better year, plays very, very well. And this isn't even a conversation at this point. I know everything happened, but if it doesn't happen, then we're talking about Cam Newton being a starter, and we're all happy going into the 2021 season because
But do you think that
well.
COVID? Do you think that COVID or him being out? I understand that it hurt him physically. I mean, because obviously it hurt you physically. I had COVID survivor over here, by the way. It sucks.
Diego too, so you're not.
But yeah, I think Diego's still going through it, which is why, Diego, thank you for being on.
This is why he comes on here with all these outrageous takes. It's
do you still think
crazy.
though, Al, and I guess everybody, I understand that all that happened, but I'm not even really, if you want to just put all the physical stuff to the side, like the throws, all that, he still wasn't making the right decisions. He wasn't grasping the playbook. And you can't say the COVID affected that because he can still learn the playbook while he's at home. I understand you have COVID. I get that. But I'm just saying, all of a sudden we're making excuses for this guy. Like Cam Newton, the player deserves it. And he doesn't.
I got to stop you. I got to stop you right there. I got to stop you right there.
I'll stop me. Okay, you go.
Because the year before even Cam Newton even stepped into a Patriots uniform, that year before that was Tom Brady's most frustrating season for himself as a quarterback with a team that struggled to receive anything.
That team still went 12-4.
Yeah, and that team somehow still went 12-4. That team somehow still went 12-4, but majority of that team though ended up having to switch the playbook to a running style because the receiving corps was not there at all. They ended up running more plays than actual throws because Tom Brady was absolutely done with N'Keal Harry. He wanted nothing to do with N'Keal. He really didn't have much of a receiving corps after that. You had to switch it over to the running game. For last year for Cam Newton, the running game was the only thing that he could possibly get going. When your number one reliable wide receiver goes down in less than 2 weeks, which was Julian Edelman in the third game against Seattle, you don't have other playmakers in that team at all. Jacoby Myers was not going to be your playmaker. N'Keal Harry was not going to be your playmaker. And if you think that, you're fucking delusional. And on top of that, Damiere Byrd was your potential playmaker, but he didn't turn out to be that. He ended up being more of that shy receiver and the availability of receivers. You ended up having to convert more into a running game. And even with your running game, you still have some transitional issues where you had to transition from a Zony Michel running style to a Damian Harris, who I'm absolutely.
That has nothing to do with Cam Newton, though.
I'm absolutely stoic for Damian Harris this year because the guy has shown to be really good.
It's all about James White. So,
but on top of that, whenever like James White, whenever he was available, those plays were being made, but it wasn't really much of substance because it wasn't like James White was going to go down the field 30, 40 yards to the touchdown. It wasn't like Cam Newton was going to go throwing to him 20, 30 yards either. It was short plays.
Yeah, but that's just it. But what does that have to do with Cam Newton?
It has everything
I
to
get
do
all the
with
things
it.
that you
It
said,
has nothing
but
around
if you follow Matt Chatham, anybody listener, anybody here, go give Matt Chatham a follow, former Patriots linebacker. He breaks down every game afterwards. He does the whole like color coordinated players on the field and everything. Cam Newton, multiple times a game, had receivers running open and everything. He just was missing them, or he was just not making the decision to throw there. So, like I said, I know that Cam was playing with a.
So what were your
Can
expectations?
I finish my thought? Thought?
No.
I know that
because
Cam Newton. Why can't I finish my thought?
Because here's my
What's up?
question
getting
to
a whole
you.
Skip and Shannon.
Tuck rule
vibes
boys,
here.
what up?
So here's my question to you. Was Jarrett Stidham going to be better than Cam Newton?
I'm not
was
talking
Brian
about
Hoyer
Jarrett
gonna be
Stidham. No one's talking about Jarrett
But
Stidham.
it's the question. That is the question.
Why is that the question? From who?
Because Jarrett Stidham was going to be QB1 if Cam Newton was going to.
No. Cam Newton definitely should have started. I'm not saying he shouldn't have started.
So then who would have done better than Cam Newton?
No one. I am telling you, Diego.
Exactly.
That Cam
So
Newton
then the
was
question
supposed
is
to
invalid.
start. Cam
The
Newton
question
should-
is invalid.
You're the one asking questions, Diego.
No,
Cam
your
Newton should have
question in its
started.
first place
Cam
is
Newton
invalid.
should have started. Can I finish my thought? You asked me a question. You're not letting me answer. Cam
Because
Newton
your
should have
argument
started.
sucks.
Cam
I
Newton
need
should have
popcorn.
started. No one's saying that Jarrett Stidham should have started
Want to go
over.
make some popcorn quick?
All I'm saying right now is that what does that have to do with Cam Newton starting this year. That has nothing to do with it. I'm not saying that Jarrett Stidham with 2 T's at the end should have started last season. God, no, he was horrible. Brian Hoyer sucked at the end of that Chiefs game. We all know that. That's why he's no longer on the Patriots.
Sucked since 2001. Dude's been playing since Joe Namath was in the league.
He has a lifetime contract here for some reason.
That's true.
But no. What I will say, yes, Cam Newton was the best option last year. He's not the best option this year. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what. I never said that Jarrett Stidham should be starting this year.
But you were
or
hung
should have
up
started
on
last year.
You were.
You were. I was just telling you that last year.
You were trying to mansplain here as to why Cam.
You say mansplain?
Yeah. Because that's
we're
what
all men. How can I
people
mansplain to men? That doesn't make sense.
Because you're a Florida man.
I think we're all men. I thought so.
He is a Florida man.
Saying? What are you saying? I was fixated on last year. What were you saying?
Are fixated. You
brought
still
up last
fixated
year.
on
So I
last
was
year.
responding.
Sully, let Diego finish his thought. Then Diego, let Sully finish his thought.
You didn't
Because
let me?
I have
I'm
something
done.
I want to bring up next. So hurry this
I'm
point
done.
along here.
I'm done with this Stevie Wonder wannabe
Right.
with his.
Hold on,
I don't even have the glasses on.
I'm going to cut this
Because
off
it's
here
shit.
because I'm pushing the wagon down the road, and I have a question for everyone. So everyone start sniffing the fumes on this idea here. I want a touchdown to interception prediction and a now new record prediction for the Patriots with Mac Jones under starter. Maybe it's off the cuff. Obviously, you guys can't do your research right now because we're on the zone. I just want a rough idea, rough prediction, rough estimate. I'll start so you guys can kind of think it over. Obviously, he's much more passing quarterback than Cam. So when I think of the touchdowns to interceptions, I think a fair benchmark, Trevor Lawrence over under for touchdowns was 23.5, which I think is laughable. Hammer the under. Trevor Lawrence is shit.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is going to suck.
So if that's the standard for the number one overall pick, obviously Mac's a couple notches below that. So if I were to guess for Mac, it'd probably be like, 18.5, 19, maybe even 20. So if I'm thinking Mac Jones, he's a rookie, so he's going to struggle. I think he's going to throw plenty of picks. I think he dips into the double digits in interceptions because Bill goes a little crazy on the passing game. I think it comes to 22 touchdowns, 11 picks for Mac Jones in a season that's kind of up and down. Hey, Al, we went pretty big on this season here, and I was confident when we did it, like a month or two ago, and now I'm a little nervous. So I need the Patriots to win 9.5 games. So just out of ignorance and hope that we still do that, I think they go 10-7. I think they drop a couple games without Cam Newton's veteran presence or his ability to put the defense on edge running the rock. So I think they go 10-7 with Mac Jones throwing 22 to 24 tubs and 10 to 12 picks.
Okay. So I got mine. So for the record, I'm gonna go 10-7 or 11-6.
Okay.
I think that's very, very attainable.
Yep. I think
For the touchdowns, I have Mac throwing 21. And then for interceptions, 8. So 21 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Think he's conservative with the picks, huh?
I think so. I don't think he's going to throw a pick every game. I think because the Patriots have such a run-heavy style of offense, Belichick and McDaniels aren't going to allow Mac to make that many mistakes.
That makes sense because they do obviously rely heavily on the run game. We have Ramondre Stevenson, who's as close to Jesus on earth as we can get, so that definitely helps.
James White is Jesus. JFW. James fucking White.
James White is perfect in all forms. It's definitely going to be a huge running year, and he's going to work the play action. But I still think there's going to be those games where just like Joe Burrow had to do last year, and the coaches don't want to do it, but sometimes you have to do it, where they're like, you got to throw the ball 40 times this game. Start airing it out. And that's where I think Mac kind of falls short a little bit because he's used to throwing to people who are wide open. And now, if Nikhil's on the field, he's not getting even close to wide open. He's not getting close to wide open. I think depending on what we see from Nelly and Bourne, I think there's going to be some struggle there.
Diego, then Pat. I'll go last. I'll bring up the caboose.
Yep,
I'll be the closer.
Yep.
So I think the record
At the end of the human centipede.
I'm gonna go in the optimistic.
It is actually.
I'm gonna go in the optimistic route about things, and I'm gonna go with 12-5. I still think that we'll have a winning season this year. We have a really good offensive line that I think Mac Jones can work with. I think in the interception area, I could
typing you up.
Diego, first time ever, buddy. I am right there with you. Let's go. Interceptions, depending on what you
Smelling the
say.
fumes.
Interception wise, I think it's a tough year, and the schedule that he's facing is very
The teams
interception.
aren't easy at all.
The teams aren't easy.
I haven't gone through the
they can
schedule
make
since I've
defensive
been on
plays.
the phone or since I've been on the call with you guys, but I know
They
it's
can make
not easy.
defensive plays happen, unfortunately. And whether it was Cam Newton or Mac Jones throwing, I still be throwing this interception number. I think it's anywhere between 12 and 14 interceptions this year, unfortunately.
Hey, no, that Judy's a rookie. That's perfectly realistic.
But touchdown wise,
Mike doesn't think it's realistic.
but touchdown wise, I do think Mac Jones could have a really good season touchdown wise.
You think he sniffs 25, 30?
No, I'm going more on the conservative route between 18 and 22 max.
See,
I don't
think
see
18
more
is
than that.
extremely reasonable.
But I do think that 18 touchdowns for Mac Jones is doable.
Sprinkle
especially
in like
without,
one rushing touchdown in there, Maybe give
Yeah,
a Tom
I-
Brady QB sneak.
I could see about 7 rushing
With a
touchdowns
spike
for
at the
him.
end to kind of remind
Some
everybody.
dramatic flair. Yeah. Get everyone.
Yeah,
fired.
I could see him being really good at the quarterback sneak play.
Yeah.
He does have that kind of body for
Big boy.
that for that play. So I could see about 7 rushing touchdowns for him, but I can't see more than
And
that.
with Bill's guidance on any play, it's unbelievable. Just
Yeah.
just lean forward, put
Just
the
lean
ball,
forward, just do it.
put the ball across the pylon. You're like, thanks, Bill. I had no idea that's what I was supposed to do. I appreciate
Patty P. Patty
So,
P with the P. What up?
Guys,
you
I'm bringing it back to the numbers again. Big numbers guy. And you know who really knows their numbers? Vegas.
Vegas. That's
So-
that's why I said, what is the Vegas odds? I'm curious.
So listen, I'm going with Vegas on this one. And let me back it up. The Pats, I looked it up. We are tied for the 19th easiest schedule this season.
Oh wow! I thought
Oh, wow.
it was much harder than that.
Our
Mhm.
opponent,
Wow.
our average opponent
That's the
average
first I've ever
is,
heard of that, actually, to be honest with
Yep.
opponent average rank is 0.48. So pretty easy schedule this season, which it will play in a good favor for Mac. That means he might get more touchdowns than Vegas is thinking. But Vegas has the odds at 13.5 interceptions and 23.5 touchdowns.
Oh wow!
you. Okay, so I was somewhere in
13
the,
and a
in the ballpark.
half. So they think he throws 14 picks right along with Diego there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking 12 to 15. So it's right around where I'm thinking. Okay.
I think I got a future bet on you.
Yeah, that's
Truth be told, I'm low key faded myself.
that's
Yeah, that
That's
sounds pretty
interesting.
tight. It seems super
That's
realistic
interesting.
though. Like he is gonna struggle. Like you got to give a figure. There's gonna be a couple like classic Julian Edelmans where the pass is batted off his hands and intercepted type deal. Like there's gonna be those where you're like, God damn it, he throws.
Julian
back-to-back
Edelman,
picks.
the best kept secret in New England that nobody wants to talk about. It's like Bigfoot. Julian Edelman, for almost his entire career, had an issue with drops, and especially towards the end
Oh,
of his
100%.
career. I can't tell you how
But
many
it's about
times I have
volume.
thrown this hat at the TV, being like, Jules, pick up the ball. But then he'd make, an amazing play later.
But then he catches the deflection in the Super Bowl, and you're like, yeah, you fucking catch that. you
Exactly.
asshole.
Exactly. So I think Al, you said 12 and no, you didn't. Diego, you said 12 and 5, right? That'd be the record. I
Wait,
agree
hold
with
on,
you
hold
there.
on. Quick recap. Al, what was yours again? I already fucked.
21-8.
21-8. Pat, what was your final? So you're just going with Vegas, which is 14 picks, and what was the
Yeah, I'm going
touchdown?
with Vegas. So I'm going to say 23 touchdowns and 13 interceptions.
All right. Wow, that sounds like a rookie year if I've ever heard one. All right, Mikey, hit us with the good stuff.
I said, don't call me
I know,
Mikey.
I know.
Buddy, it's Mike. You can call me Michael if you want to get formal. Sully, call me shithead, whatever. Diego, you have all pet names for me. We go back and forth with the cute little names.
That's adorable.
12 and 5, Diego. I agree. 12 and 5 is good. I'm actually, I was looking at their schedule as we're talking. It's really not as difficult as everybody thinks. If people think that the Dolphins defense is going to be good, I think the Dolphins are going to be not good by the end of the year. So their defense is only going to be good for so long. Either way, 12 and 5, I think Mac Jones, I don't think he hits 20. I think he throws 19 touchdowns. I think he throws like 6 or 7 picks. I mean, this guy is touted for his accuracy. You also got to think he's not going to be throwing the ball as much. The Patriots are going to have, saying it right here, a top 5 rushing attack. They're also going to have a top 3 defense. Again, saying it right here. So I don't think Mac is going to have to do as much. It seems like Belichick is building this team, how another dynasty started, the Patriots dynasty in 2001, where you have a good defense, a good running back, and a young quarterback. I think it's going to be 12-5. I do think they make the playoffs. I don't think that we've said that, but I think that's what
kind
happens.
of a given if you win 12-5.
And I think you never. Yeah, I mean, unless the AFC is like crazy.
That's my homeboy goes 17-0.
Homeboy. Hey, yeah, hot take. They're not even going to make the AFC Championship game. The Chiefs. But I think 12-5, 19 touchdowns, 7 picks. I'll go. And yeah, I think he has 1 rushing touchdown, like Liam said, and then he spikes it in the end zone. Everybody forgets about Brady. Like I've already forgotten about Brady.
I know, Al, you have to get out of here too. You got Legends coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a pleasure having you on, my man. Good luck
Absolutely.
on the next show.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll give one final take before I kind of have to
give us a close out of here.
Give us a good one.
This party. So it actually involves, I think, the topic you guys are going to get to next, which is Stephon Gilmore. This is going to sound so bad. I don't think he's injured enough to the point where he really needs to sit out for 6 weeks. I think it involves his contract.
I agree with that full-heartedly.
I think
heartedly.
That is a hot take.
I think, and I'll end with this. I think it's a situation where, because I didn't even know this until I heard this on 98.5, which they read right from the rule book, so you can actually trust this.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Gilmore declared for camp, the fact that he arrived, that he actually showed up.
Bankruptcy.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So
That's all I can think about.
So with that being
Couldn't
said,
take him seriously.
he knows that if he shows up, he's going to be fine. He still gets his game checks.
Mm-hmm.
If he didn't, then it would only be like a prorated salary. So he might only get part of that $7 million, but now he's going to get that full $7 million, even if he only plays 8 games, and then he can walk in free agency to get a bigger contract. Again, I don't want to diminish the injury, because if he's really injured, then
You're so
if he's really
insensitive.
Yeah, if he's really injured, then so be it. But we'll see what happens. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I'll come back on at some point if you guys will have me. You guys are awesome. Keep killing
Been a
it.
pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir.
Later.
That's a good take. I do just want to say something before we hop in. Gilmore is in. I know we're all saying that. Diego, I have a question, man.
Yeah.
Do you think Gilmore would still be injured? And this is kind of a rhetorical question, so I'm going to ask. I'm going to keep talking. Do you think Gilmore would still be injured if he had an exo-gun? Do you know if he would? I don't know if he knew about it.
I don't know.
Exactly. Let me see, because maybe he's listening. I don't know. We have people that listen.
I hit up Stephon last week. He actually said he's a huge fan. So.
You did, yeah. Actually, I've actually been talking to a couple Pats
BHP
fans.
too.
Little Pats fans. Little spoiler alert: we may have a Patriots player on at some point this season. So just a little nugget for everybody. Yeah, John Cena is going to come on. Guys, Exogun.
Former
I did bring
Patriot
it
great
up.
John Cena.
I did. Screw you.
Massachusetts native.
He is.
Exactly. Yeah, West Newbury. You can't see me.
Is that where he's from? I thought it was Groveland.
No, I don't know. They say West Newbury, but they also said that Undertaker was from like the wasteland. So, guys, Exogun.
It's real to me, goddammit.
If Gilmore was watching, I would tell him, Mr. Stephon, have you ever done a workout where you feel like you need a massage after? Well, let me tell you, don't let the pain, the soreness slow you down and make you hold out or anything like that. Exogun, my friend, it revives the muscle. It boosts your circulation. It releases energy so you can recover faster, live better. Take it wherever you need it. It's got a case. It's got a charger. If you're at work, if you're at the gym, Liam, I know you're always on the trail.
Always.
If you're at the trail, on the trail, in the trail, I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you're in a cave.
I am the trail.
Exactly. Yeah, you're on the trail. People are on you. Mr. Gilmore, let me tell you, the Exogun also helps with percussion therapy. What is percussion therapy? Well, let me tell you, this is Liam's favorite part. Boosts muscle function and recovery by penetrating deep into the muscle tissue with a series of very rapid, very concentrated, very pulsating strokes.
Can't forget those pulsating strokes.
Guys, gain back control of your body, achieve long-term pain relief with Exogun. Get 10% off. That is a full 10% off with the code CGS10. That's CGS10 at checkout. Like I said, comes with a charger and all that fun stuff. Get your Exogun today and treat yourself to a massage at a moment's notice.
Can't put a price on pulsing.
I mean, or penetrating strokes. I don't know. But But guys, I do. Al did bring up a good point. So Stephon Gilmore today was put on the PUP list. He's gone for 6 weeks. What's going on? I mean, I'm not worried about the defense as much. Week 4 against Brady, that's going to be something. Other than that, you're going against the Dolphins, the Jets, the Jameis Winstons in New Orleans. You're going against Dak if he's healthy, and then you're going against whatever mishmash they have over in Houston. So
Jameis.
Yeah, 30 for 30. What do you guys think about Gilmore being on the PUP list? Do you think it's a holdout? Do you think it's both? Do you think it's more of a holdout, more of an injury? I mean, what do you think? Because the players don't seem to be working.
Let's lead off with Big Bad Scove here.
Let's go. Patty P.
So just looking at the salary.
Kid's always digging in the metrics.
I know. I'm always
I can
looking
see
at
it in his glasses.
Nose
Dude's
deep
got
in numbers.
You can.
3 computers, 15 tabs open.
The whole wall is monitors.
It is. It's bad. But so I mean, the team would be making a bigger stink. We'd see some movement. We'd see some free agent signings or some people taking off the practice if it was a really big deal, right? But we're not really seeing that. It kind of just I'm gonna agree with Diego and Al here. I think it's a negotiation thing. If we're looking at the average contracts here, average 2021 cornerback pays, right? Jalen Ramsey's making $20 million. Humphrey's making 19. Tre'Davious White's making 17.2. Darius Slay. I haven't even heard of these names, and these guys are making $20 million.
Let's not bash Darius Slay.
He's still
He's
alive?
a baller. He's a baller.
He
For
was
the
on
birds,
Eagle.
baby.
He was on Philly. Philly trash. Ben Simmons doesn't even want to play there. I'm sorry, Pat. Keep going.
No, you're good. You're good. The point I'm trying to make is the Patriots are notorious for trying to get players for as long and cheap as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just starting to get fed up with it. And they're starting to say, if you don't want to pay me, I'm not going to fucking play. I have this injury. Oh, my leg. I need to on the PUP
It's like the
for
classic
6
get
months.
hurt at work.
Yes, dude. Right. Until you start respecting me and respecting the value that I bring to the organization, why should I put the effort in?
Yeah, it makes sense. But at the same time, I brought this up to Mike in maybe the first episode. There's no drive for greatness from players anymore. Like, I miss the players that would want to play for an organization that's not easy to play for because they get championships and because there's huge rewards for their hard work, and maybe there's huge rewards for them not being as respected as they would if they were on, the Raiders. I think I see it with Reggie Wayne. He's always my main example. This dude he went to the University of Miami, so he's obviously the love of my life. And he was a fantastic wide receiver all about the U. All throughout his career, he was fantastic. Went to the Patriots. It was too hard for him. He retired. Just cut bait right there. He was still young, and he just cut it out. So I think there's not enough players that want to play for a great coach like Bill Belichick because they're afraid to maybe get disrespected or work too hard or maybe get the shit out into the stick. There's just a huge lack of players that want to be good now. People don't want to go to the Patriots anymore. And it's just really sad. Like, if Jalen Ramsey just wanted to win a title, then go to the Patriots. And there's a clear reward. If you go to the Patriots, you win a title. It may not be the best experience. It's like taking a bullet train. It might not be the most comfortable ride, but you're going to cross that country in a record fucking time. Obviously, there's going to be bumps. You're going to be flying around, but you get to your destination faster than all the other fools who took an 8-hour train ride normally. So I just think, I don't know. The Patriots have been almost devalued in a way, and it makes me sort of upset. I don't like seeing this whole thing with Gilmore. I hope it's just an injury, and I like to think it's just an injury because he is injury prone. Let's not get it twisted. He missed plenty of time last year. He was still a top 100 player by NFL standards, but he missed most of the year. And when he played, he wasn't the best corner in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He was maybe top 5, but he wasn't the best. And he was the best the year before, and he wasn't anymore. So he clearly has had injury problems. I'm not going to completely bite the bullet and agree with Al here. I'm going to say it is an injury problem, which is almost scarier.
Yeah.
I think it's all part of a financial situation working out for both sides. Obviously, Stephon Gilmore wants to get paid more. He, in a way, deserves to get paid more than what he's getting paid here in the Patriots. I think he has to do something with the injury. I think the injury, yeah, it's there, but I don't think it's as extensive as 6 to 7 weeks missing out. I think it's more like 2 weeks.
Is a lot of time to
I
be
think
without our best corner.
I think it's more like 2 weeks realistically, if anything.
But do you think they re-sign him and he comes back then? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking this is part of a strategy to work a short-term deal that will allow the Patriots to then move on from Gilmore next year and be able to draft a quarterback. I mean, a cornerback. Jesus, I'm still thinking about quarterbacks.
Yeah, basically the same word.
Yeah, basically the same thing. But I'm thinking it's more of like buy your way in into trading him in a way that would also get you a higher pick grading for next year, in which you can capitalize and get a cornerback out of the draft, something for the future that you can work on, lower costs, longer, availability, younger as well, especially as you build in a younger core too.
So what, you think they signed him to like a 1 year, like $20 million deal or something that makes him in the top 3 of corners?
I'm thinking they give him a 2-year deal because I don't think there is any good cornerbacks out of this upcoming draft in 2022.
When they trade him in that second year, you think?
But I think they trade him in that second year for a higher round pick where the Patriots could capitalize and make a good earning out of that trade.
What are you thinking here, Mike? This get you wet a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it does, but like in more ways than one, in good ways, bad ways, because I'm crying, I get tears, and then the other.
That's what I was leaning toward. Yeah.
I think
keep your mind out of the gutter.
I think like Diego, sexual podcast. Remember,
it always is.
I think like Diego said. And don't get it twisted. Diego and I agree on a lot of things. I think, like he said,
for the most part, you and me double teaming Diego though.
They signed to enough sexuality. My God. They signed him to a 2-year deal, Diego, like you said, and I think that they do flip him either around the draft time of that second year or maybe before the trade deadline, just to maybe pick up a piece. I don't know what they'll need in a couple of years, but maybe something like that, maybe or just to get another pick for the following year, because Liam, remember we did talk about it. Gilmore is right a couple of years away from that cusp where corners just fall off when they hit in a few years. So I think he does get a year. I think he does get what he wants this year. I think next year he gets a bigger, maybe at some point they convert some of his salary to signing, I don't know, something like that. Either way, Belichick's going to work it out. And I think that he gets dealt in his second year. So I do think it's a little bit of what Al said, where he's holding off a little bit. He's not a holdout, but I think he is still injured too. So I think he is still rehabbing that. But I do think there is a little bit in there of the contract issue. But like I said, what's good, what gives me confidence is the fact that you see all the players when they talk about them, they don't seem worried. And, I know the players aren't going to come right out and be like, yeah, I'm worried that Gilmore's not going to be here. But, they're all like,
they would just avoid the topic altogether because they
Exactly. They all say, he's been good in the room, all that. I understand. Like Al said, Gilmore actually reporting and being there gets him the money, but no one has really talked about Gilmore that way in his entire career, where he's going to kind of like play the team here and there. I understand money does things to people, but no, I think that Gilmore wants to be here.
You're being offered 20 mil.
I think he signs
for 20 mil.
It's going to be like a 2-year deal. It's going to be, I don't know, 14 something per, maybe 16 the next year or something like that. And then, yeah, I think he's going to be dealt in that second year, which seems to be, the way that Belichick goes with players. Get rid of them 1 year early as opposed to 1 year too late. So I think that's how it's going to work.
The trend. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions about him coming back and being the same guy that he is? Because no questions. Because hey, you pointed out, and I made the point on the last show when we talked about Stephon. Dude, corners have the shelf life of milk. If you don't buy that the day it gets into the store, oh man, you can get some rank shit by accident. So I think there's a lot of merit to it. Like I said again in the last podcast, I have concerns even about him next year. The fall off can be drastic. It can be quick. You know how they've always been projecting the cliff for Tom Brady?
Oh God.
It's more of a definite for corners. And
Max Kellerman.
yes, I'm gonna go full Max Kellerman here, and I'm gonna bite the bullet and just say, hey, I think next year Stephon Gilmore isn't gonna be that great. So I wouldn't mind them working out a deal to get rid of him this year. Now that he's holding out officially, whether it's because of injury or if he's about a contract, 6 weeks without Stephon Gilmore is going to be tough. If we can go 4-2, or 3-3 even, I'm like, all right, we don't particularly need the dude. If we're struggling, then I'm like, holy shit, get Gilmore back. The house is on fire.
Yep.
I don't know. I worry about corners like that.
Listen, as long as Stephon Gilmore doesn't leave this Patriots organization with a sour taste like Asante Samuel coming after Bill Belichick for making one move, I'll be fine with that.
Asante Samuel, that guy, he said, oh, he caught him off guard. That listen, buddy, how about you make that pick in the Super Bowl and the Patriots win? Okay. I'm sick of Asante Samuel's bullshit. This guy comes out from obscurity every once in a while just to criticize the team that made him who he is. Bitch, if it wasn't for the Patriots, you'd be nothing, or you would have just wasted away on that Philly trash Eagles team. I'm sorry, Liam. I know you love the Eagles, but I do not. Asante Samuel can fuck off, and excuse me for my language, but that's
the comments today were uncalled for from
it's ridiculous.
the comments from him today were just extremely uncalled for. It was just like bullshit, dude. You're coming after the coach that actually gave you a chance to be a winning player. Come on, dude. Just shut the fuck up.
Liam, what do you think? I see your little face over there.
The gall, the nerve, the audacity to insult our Lord and Savior Asante Samuel for anything. To say he's coming out of obscurity from his palatial estate, yeah, that's obscurity.
He lives under a rock. Like
I will not stand here and take Asante Samuel slander lightly. This is one of the finest corners this organization and this league. This is
Owen
about
Wilson.
Mr. Pick Six.
Owen Wilson.
What?
You can make
what
that
do you
plea.
have to say?
You can make that plea all you want, and when it crashes, when you're trying to bang the guy's daughter, that's fine. But in this case scenario here, Asante Samuel was completely out of line. He didn't need to make that comment. I'm a big Asante Samuel fan as well. But
he should be, because everyone is, because he's the man.
I'm a big fan of any ex-Patriot player overall. Anybody who has played for the Patriots, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you've done. And thank you for being a player in this organization. But to be quite honest with you,
Cam Newton, are you a fan of Cam Newton?
Of course I am.
Are you an Aaron Dobson guy?
I forgot who he was, to be quite honest with you.
You should, because he's shitty. Exactly.
Just like I'm gonna forget Nikhil Harry as well.
Yes.
I've already forgot.
But Asante Samuel, I gotta be honest with you. In those comments, buddy, you either need to go take a shower and hit the locker room.
There's some merit to it. I'm with him. No, I'm completely with him here. Because, so he played under Bill Belichick. He saw,
Bill Belichick was
that is Bill Belichick.
If Bill Belichick was the cold-blooded coach that he says that he is, you think Asante Samuel would have had a chance to be a winning Super Bowl player like he was here in New England?
Yeah. He's
no,
perfect.
He wouldn't have.
He's perfect.
No, he wouldn't have.
He would have went to another team and been just as successful and just as well could have got a ring. If that Eagles team was half of what it should have been, he would have won a ring. But
this is how I know you. This is how I know you're sleepy, Leo.
That's the story of Philadelphia.
I'm not even sleepy. I took a nap before this podcast. That's not the point.
You're still sleepy.
No, Asante Samuel is coming from a place of player compassion. He was a player. Obviously, he feels maybe he was treated poorly by Bill Belichick.
Him and Cassius Marsh can go
for something. Cassius Marsh, fuck that guy.
I put Asante Samuel in the same boat right now.
To put those guys in the same even stratosphere.
They're in the same boat on the same lake.
They're not. There's no lake. They're not in the same lake together. They're not close. One of them is in Alaska and the other one's in New Zealand, as far away as possible. They are on polar
I don't know if
opposites.
that's factually correct. I don't know if that's true.
They are not even related. They're not close. Asante Samuel is coming from a place of player compassion. Bill Belichick obviously treats his players as a commodity, as you should, as a coach. I'm not bashing him. Obviously, they're people, but these are all checker pieces. These are all, moves, chess pieces that you have to move.
Checker pieces.
Whatever. I don't play these games. These are all players that you move around to try and get the ultimate goal of winning. And Asante Samuel was one of those players. So he's coming from the player compassion side. Obviously, with Cam Newton gets dropped like this, there's a ton of people that feel for Cam Newton. And there's a reason for it, because he kind of got screwed. He kind of got the shit out of the stick. Whether you believe in Mac Jones, whether you don't, there's a lot of merit to him saying, wow, you're just going to dump Cam to the curb like that, because he totally could have just kept him for this year. And he is just coming from a point where you really didn't have to do this. It didn't have to be like this. You could still have great success and still be the greatest head coach of all time without being a little bit of a dick. And hey,
Well, why would he keep Cam Newton if he wasn't going to start him, though? That's the thing.
yes,
he didn't want to.
and hey, maybe Cam asked for it, and maybe that's something
Yeah,
me
who
and
knows?
Asante Samuel don't know, because Asante he's not. Because hey, me and Asante hang out. We're going to talk about this later. He doesn't know the whole story. I don't know the whole story because we're not there. So if Cam and him had this conversation, Bill had this conversation, it's a different story.
Mhm.
But I absolutely think there's a lot of merit to it, because Bill deserves criticism. He's not, he's not perfect.
Not for this.
I love Bill much more than the next guy, and the next guy after that, the next guy after that.
All right.
But
Done with this. I'm done with this.
oh my God, no, he's not perfect though.
Listen,
That's why I said he's getting senile, and it's a joke. But he's, Greg Popovich isn't the best coach
Mike, take
in the
control.
league.
okay,
anymore.
all right, guys. For
Take
Liam
control.
McDade in those blasphemous takes, for
Not
Diego,
Not even.
for Al, who can't be here with us right now. He didn't pass away. He's still here. He's just doing another podcast. For Pat, who got bumped off on the little logistical snafu we had. This is Tuck Rule Takes. I'm cutting this short before any other blasphemous takes come out. Guys,
Asante
next
Samuel,
week,
greatest corner to touch the turf.
Ty Law, Darrell Reeve, get out of here. Next week, we are going to do our predictions episode for the Patriots' entire season. We'll have the whole season there. We will have a guest. I'm not going to tell you who, but we will have a guest next week. Another Couch Guy Sports personality. Again, I'm telling you, CouchGuySports.com.
Definitely a personality.
He is a personality. You'll see, we go back and forth too. We all will get on the bandwagon because, like I said, actually, like Liam and I both agreed on last episode, 2 dynasties are starting right now: Patriots 2.0 and CouchGuySports.com, Couch Guy Sports. And then Tucker Rule Takes just going to ride those coattails until we end up interviewing Mac Jones, ask him how his first Super Bowl was, his rookie season. Guys, like I said, Tuck Rule Takes for me, Liam, all of our guests. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you next week. We'll be back to the hip hop intros next week. Guys, enjoy it. Go Pats. That's it.
Cheers.